Hello. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. Say hello and announce where you're from. I'm Pat Butynski from New Jersey. I know, Neelam, you're from New Jersey too. There you are. You're from Montclair area, right, Neelam? Hi, Doris. You're from England? Or am I having, brain stumps? Charleston, South Carolina. Houston. I knew that somewhere in the recesses of my brain. I'm not going to even say anything. The 60,000 followers I never thought I would see, but I try to keep track of it all. But, sometimes I run upstairs and I forget why I came upstairs. I can't remember. I find oatmeal in the cereal, cereal in the refrigerator. So, you're in Iran. Thank you. It must be 11 o'clock at night in Iran, or a little bit later. Hello, hello. How are you all doing? Talk to me. Let me know. Hugs to you, Leah. Thank you. So what have you been making? Tell us. Hi, Mally. What have you been making, everybody? Are you making stuff or are you making trouble? Either way, takes creativity to do that too. Yeah, Leah, what are you making? You want to come on, talk? You could show people what you're making. I know, the pouring rain, right, Neelam? I don't know if it's raining anyplace else, but it is raining cats and dogs here. I actually thought, should we do cats and dogs? No, that's too literal. From your studio in Scotland. Emma Davis, thank you. Thank you. Next week? No, I need you to come on this week. You do? Thanks, Doris. Yeah, I'm going to keep doing that, I do like to pray at the end, and some people might be offended by that, but honestly, it doesn't take much to offend people anymore. So, if I pray, and even now, if I say Jesus or something, and that makes you, other than as a curse word, and that upsets you, then, see you later. Because I'm not going to not stand up for my beliefs, that's for sure. And I respect and I revere every one of you and the way you think and the way you work, because you're creative people and we all have different beliefs. I believe that, and it took me to be 45 years old, that, the answer for me was I came to Christ, and he came running after me, and I wasn't looking for him. I was trained as a yoga teacher. I was trained, I was reading Louise Hay, Shakti Gawain. I was doing creative visualization, all of that. So I understand. Zen Buddhism. I read the Bhagavad Gita. I read parts of the Quran. I was a seeker. You can make popcorn. But anyway, so my journey was a long journey. And, but, I don't filter. And I share all my secrets with you about art and pretty much a lot of personal stuff. Because, you kind of get through your 40s and you're still kind of guarding like what your image is and stuff like that. And I believe that there's truth in that. There's passages to life. And at certain times in life, we go through different things. I remember in my 30s, I was just such a perfectionist. If I didn't do everything perfect, then I was trash. I mean, there was no middle. And then I got to my 40s and I had my kids later in life. So I had them at 34 and 36, and they were getting into school, and they weren't, doing exactly what they were programmed to do. And then, having been such a perfectionist and a control freak for so long, and I couldn't control what came out of their mouth or what they did or what they said the best I could. Man, I just crashed and burned big time hard. And I did. I had a complete nervous breakdown. And I'm not ashamed of that, because I know a lot of you are freaking out now. And I get that. The thing about what I went through is that I came out the other side. I know I can do that. I know that I can go through crazy and come out the other end and be better for it. 71 and you still feel, yeah, of course. I feel more like a child now than ever, because I'm freer to just be me, and I'm not worried about what people think or if they hang up on me or whatever. Everybody wants to be loved and everybody wants to be liked, but I want to be real. And if I can't be real, then I can't have a real relationship. So we're on social media. It's not really real. People have opinions and take positions on things. And, we live in the United States. In the United States, you have a right to do that. And so I'm not going to contest it. What I am going to do personally is to continue to examine myself to a point. Because if you're constantly self-examining yourself, you're going to get really depressed, because usually you're not going to find, peace in there. There's always going to be something missing. And so that's why I shared the gospel last week, because that was the reality of what happened to me. And I was not looking for it, but I did find that missing piece, P-E-A-C-E. And it was Jesus. So, yeah, it's not a religion, it's a relationship. But anyway, I'm on here to talk art talk with you today. And I read something kind of cool. You know how we always talk about, and I was just talking about control and everything, we always talk about whether or not, you want rules and things like this. And do rules hurt your creativity? I think they do, if, depending on who's speaking into your life. That's why I always say, okay, you can join in a minute. Leah's going to come on in a minute. And Leah, you don't have to have it on your face if you don't want to. You can just aim it on your work. I understand it's hard to put your face on here. It's scary, and every single time I get pitted up in my armpits, I go, wow. But if you let people speak into your life, again, I was talking about opinions. It's one thing to give their opinion about your art or about how to do something, but there's also leeway in that. And anyway, I think this artist, her name is Nita Leland. She does beautiful color work. She's got some great books on color. She says the structure stifle creativity. And I usually look at pictures in art books, but her books cause me to read them. And she said, what happens to your creative spirit if you place so much emphasis on formal design? Do rules and organization interfere with having fun and letting yourself go? Not at all. As we learn in previous chapters, creativity doesn't merely tolerate boundaries. It requires them. As Rollo May, psychologist and author of The Courage to Create, said, creativity is best when it has limits which force the dream into usable form. I like that. And I think in life application, we have a lot of limits now. But these limits, we can either be frustrated or we can learn how to live within them in a very successful, creative, new way, different way. I don't know if this is going to change or something, I don't know what the other end is going to look like. But in the meantime, let's make the best we can with the limits that we have. And one of the things I wanted to say is what I felt early on in this lockdown is that I needed to share, because we needed to communicate and we needed to keep some kind of fellowship. Hello, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. And so we needed to find some way to be a little bit less isolated. And as I said, they call it social distancing, but distancing is one thing, but we can still be social. And but not social mean, not social argue, like social aware, socially kind, socially helpful. And so anyway, I felt the need to share and have a place where we can all come and get together and make art and talk at the same time, like artists do in a room, So I'm not necessarily here. This isn't the Pat Butynski show. Please understand that. In no way. I just want to come on and paint with you and next to you and commiserate with you and, and not complain, because honestly, there's a lot of things to be grateful for. And one of the main things I'm grateful for is that because of the illness that I had and had to start digging this well for 5 years, that when Corona hit, I was ready. I was ready. Now, I would have never been diligent to post on social media, and I would continue to make my work, whether it's sold or not. And I've had seasons like that. People are going, well, what are you doing with your art? And I'm going, well, I'm not doing anything with it. They're going, you're not doing anything with it? And I'd be like, no, I'm just painting. Well, why are you doing that? Because that's what I do. I'm a painter. If you're an artist of any sort, or if you're a mom, do you all of a sudden stop mommying because something happens? Sometimes you might have a harder time mommying or daddying, or whatever your calling is, but you never stop being that. And so there really isn't any retirement for an artist, and whether people are watching or not watching, or I'm selling art or not selling art, I'm still making art because I love to create. It's just part of all of our DNA. We just create in different ways. So, hi Sandra. Are you sure you want to interview me? Anyway, so when we talk about these boundaries, this life situation now has created a lot of boundaries, and what's come out of it is things like this. I see a lot more artists sharing, a lot more artists giving back, if you will, and not giving back to get anything in particular, just to contribute. I'd like to go into the hospitals, I think I said early on, and roll up my sleeves and take care of sick people in there, but they won't let me do that. But I can do this. And there's all kinds of sickness. There might be some of you at home with arthritis. There might be some of you with immunodeficiency disease. There might be some of you at home in serious depressive disorder. Or you might have a substance abuse problem, and it's just worse now because you're stuck at home. You know what? No judgment. This is hard, okay? And we're all doing the best we can. And I'm going to love you anyway. I have a son who is sober right now, but it's been 10 years off and on with a substance abuse problem. And sometimes I can't always love him in person because my love gets corrupted and I just get angry. But when I distance from him, but don't stop loving him, I can speak to him civilly and encouragingly, and I can pray. And, if I only have a few words, I'll say, I love you, stay alive. Just stay alive. And sometimes it comes down to that. And again, that's another kind of, it could be an obstacle, and it has been in my life. But you can step up on those obstacles, and you can use that, and you can grow a heart of compassion, or you can hate. There's way too much hate going on. If I don't think the same or feel the same, I don't have the same experiences as you. I'm sharing my experiences. I can understand moms and dads and people that are struggling with addiction because I've been walked through that. I can understand people that have kids with learning disabilities. I've walked through this, okay? I can understand what it is to have survived a really, really tumultuous childhood because I've walked through that. And I don't want to get into this political thing. I don't know what it's like to be black. I haven't been black. And I don't know what it is. I have black friends. I have relationships. I serve with them and beside them. But I don't know what it feels like for everybody to be suspicious of me because of the color of my skin. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And I can't speak to that because I have no frame of reference. But do I think that people should kill each other and what happened, that we all saw what happened? I mean, that was horrible. I mean, that was a very sick cop. And I don't think all cops are sick. I love the police that have helped me. Like I said, the stuff that I've been through with my son, the police were a godsend. They were a godsend, and they were kind, and they were patient, and it was rough, but they were good, and they were understanding, and they just said, we're here for you if you want to press the limit here, and yeah, and there is good and bad in everything. There's good artists and there's shitty artists, okay? And I don't mean that their work is shitty, excuse my language, but, I'm a real person and shite, maybe. They're just not nice, and I can't fix that or judge that or let that affect what I do with putting information out and helping people. But going back to setting boundaries, I can set my boundaries of, where I'm going to walk and who I'm going to fellowship with, and ask for wisdom when to speak and when to hold my tongue. So that's real important in my years of life, of living. But in art, sometimes the boundaries are our friends. Like, I don't know how many of you did the red, white, and get your red, white, blacks, and blues on, but when we limited the palette, what I saw was that all the rest of the design really seemed to thrive. And you guys were doing things that were surprising and a little bit different, but it was very clear, and not in an expected way, but in a really strong way. You made some really strong declarations. So sometimes we have to pull back, that's what my Path to Abstraction class is all about. And I'm not here to sell that, but just so that a lot of people are going, well, I don't, I've been painting a long time, and I don't, I don't really want to go over color and the elements of design and principles of design and everything. But, we all get so into our art, myself included. It helps me to teach it because I get lost. It's like, all right, I sit down, and I know you do this too. I have, we're pretty much art supply junkies. I have a tons of color to choose from. Is one color better than the other? I don't know. I just kind of go with what I like, and then I keep going and going and going, and and then I got this big hash, and I'm frustrated. And when I started out like a child, and I was having really fun, and that's a good way to start. It really is. Don't be inhibited starting. Starting is easy. Just put something down. Start with a color. Start with some marks. Start with some pencil. You know how people talk about activating the page. I mean, that's a cool expression. It's kind of art talk now, but I think it's kind of activate. How do we activate us? We just start. Because it's like I said, it's just paint or just crayon. Nobody dies. So, but sometimes when we have parameters, like say, when I was teaching, I only made money from teaching. All the galleries were closed, and there wasn't really any other avenues to sell your art. It was back in 2008, and I had been selling well in galleries, but they all closed, and the recession was upon us. So did I stop painting? No, but I did start painting on the back of my paintings. I did start mixing color more, because I couldn't keep going out and replacing my colors. And being a teacher, every week I had to show up and use paint to do demos. So then, it was like, honestly, I would never say to my students, well, I really, they would all want to borrow my paint and everything. And I would let them, but then it was like I would be thinking, I hope I have paint when I get home to paint with. So, but those things, those limitations made me mix more, start to limit my palette, start to invent. And eventually it also taught me how to set boundaries with my students. And I said, I'd like to supply you, but there's 14, 15 people in here, and honestly, I can't. If I could, I would, but I can't. But I need to have paint, and I need to have paper to prepare classes so I can come up here and give you what you paid for. So those are the things that those kind of limits gave birth to new ways of operating. So it's the same thing with art. Sometimes, like I said, in my Path to Abstraction class, I'm saying, all right, I want you to look at the elements of design. I want you to look at color separate from everything else. I want you to look at lines separate from everything else for a while. I want you to look at shape separate from everything else. I want you to look at space division. I want you to look at edges. Just focus on edges. You know what I mean? To pare it down. And it seems like, well, this is boring. It's whatever. Well, you know what? It's not boring when you can just sit down at the piano and play, because you have the backbone and the underpinnings to compose. And so that's what these limitations give us. They are not meant to bind us. They're meant to set us free, okay? And then if you can break the rules successfully, that's what all the artists that are in museums did. They went against the grain, and, Picasso broke the rules. But Picasso was an amazing, amazing realistic artist, like young. By the time he was 10, he had that all sussed out. So it was really cool. So anyway, Leah, my video keeps pausing. Anybody else having a problem seeing my video? Anybody else? Okay. Well, anyway, I think maybe today, if you want to do a little bit of work, I was thinking, because this is what I had nearby, it doesn't matter what kind of paint you use, because honestly, I just pulled these because they were nearby. And these are Liquitex gouache. I don't like them as much as designer gouache because for me, the only thing different between these and the soft body acrylic is that they dry matte. Okay, whereas designer gouache, you can reactivate it with water, so you can keep moving it. So, all right, Leah's going to come on. Leah, hold on a second. You know what? Maybe come on next week. You'll kill me, right? But anyway, so let's just do this. So I'm going to use yellow because I had yellow. I'm going to use white, and I'm going to use black. So I'm using the black and white, and rather than use two colors, I'm just going to use the yellow, which you may not be able to see. But I'm going to turn it down, and just let's put some lines on the paper. You can do anything you want, and maybe you already are. And I'm just going to mix up a couple of colors and just see what happens. Okay, you can see me from South Africa. I'm so glad you got to come on. Sorry about your video pausing. Maybe just, yeah, let's talk between this week and next week, Leah, and then you come on and you show some people what you've been working on, because she works in a very orderly fashion, so I think that'd be cool. All right, so I'm going to go down because I want to have a little bit of time to do something here. And I'm just going to use these colors. I usually don't recommend using yellow with black and white when you're first learning, because yellow will always make green when you add it to black. So it's an interesting kind of thing. It kind of confuses the mix. It's a rare color. But all right. So you got stabilities? Good for you. All right, I'm going to come down, and only 14 people stayed here with me. You think it was something I said? Okay, whatever. Okay. There. I think you can see that pretty good. So. Oh no, the yellow isn't open. I hate that part because it always gets under my fingernails. Okay. So I'm going to squirt out a little bit of yellow. I don't know if you can see that. I'll bring it over here. Somebody got mad at me last week on YouTube because they couldn't see everything. And I just think, really? I'm just hanging out with people on IG and we're just painting. I mean, I'm not doing a seminar. I know, I'm a bit of a brat. You get like that after a while when you've taught for a long time. I like to coddle my students, but at a certain point I'm like, hey, don't whine to me. But you knew that. All right. Why when I try to pull brushes and look cool, see, that's what I'm talking about. Everyone is hard. Because you don't wash your brushes out good, Pat. Oh, you think? Yeah, I think. All right, so, well, I might be able to do this whole thing with one brush. But anyway, on my paper, you don't have to do this, I don't know. Sometimes if I scribble a little bit on it, I start to see some shapes or something, and then I kind of go after that. But there's no rhyme or reason, and I don't think about it too much. I just do that. There's no special secret. There's no special secret sauce. And if there is a secret sauce, I always tell you what it is. So if I don't tell you what the secret sauce is, then there is no secret. Now I would put this on here. This is nice. This Faber-Castell. It's a Pitt pen, and it's black. Well, this could be cool because with these India ink pens, water hits them. I'll show you, but you'll find that out on your own. They'll move. The black will start to kind of make paint. They won't really stay still, but that's okay. So I'm just gonna mix over here a little bit. Oh, I'll pull this over here so you can see. So if I just add a little bit of white to my yellow, because maybe that's a garish yellow. You know, yellow can be hard to work with, but if you add another color with it, I can get a nice lemon yellow, you know, and you can go almost to white with that. Then if you add a little bit of black to it, and I mean a little bit of black to it, you will start to get a gray, that's a lot of black, a gray green. Can you see that? And I gotta have more yellow, so I'm gonna put more yellow there. But if I make it more yellow than black, then I get a bright green. All right, that's not adding any white to it yet. You see that? That cool? And then if I add white to that mix, because maybe you don't like that like pukey green. I mean, I like it when it's next to other stuff. It all depends on what things are next to. Sometimes it can look like, you know, bile. Other times it can look really pretty. But yeah, where's my water? It's over here. And then of course you can go even darker with this so that you have, you know, a really nice dark gray green, and then you can go 100% black, which is pretty. And the same thing with this. You put black next to these colors, or you put green next to those colors, or you just take pure yellow, which is probably not going to stay too pure, and put it here. Then, you know, I have a pretty nice palette. And again, if you just keep adding white to it, you get a lot of tones. Plus, if you've got your marker or anything on top of it, you can get something really nice. So if you want to work, if you tend to work lighter, add more white. If you want to get your stuff a little bit darker and mysterious looking, then you just add a little bit more black, but just play with it. And then always just mix black with white. And so then you'll just get a neutral gray. You don't have to go buy a neutral gray to add to everything, okay? Because you can just get a nice neutral gray. And you can get a variety of those depending on how much black you add, okay? And how much white you add. You gotta add a lot more white. So then you have a variety of just black and white. All right? So that's a lot of color, right? That's a lot of color. So let's see what happens. If I do a butt fugly painting, you're not gonna stop being my friend, are you? I have my iced coffee from Rook. I'm 2-timing on the I'm 3-timing on the coffee shops. Yeah. So, well, I'm going to cheat here since I mixed all my color up because I love you guys. I'm going to put a little white on here because I want to start out with, when you mix color, you need, you know, if you're mixing if you're mixing 3 colors, I think it's really good to have about 5 brushes, 1 for each mix, because they cross over. That's just if you're trying to make a chart or keep them clean. I'm not really a chart maker, even though you keep seeing me do this. But I'll tell you what, if I mix my colors ahead of time, I don't know, I end up just being a little bit more successful a little quicker. But, and if I want to keep painting, I do another painting, you know? Because the thing is, we don't like to, oh, you're going to make a liar out of me. Oh, okay, well, that didn't move. So that's cool. All right, so let me just do some basic yellow underneath there. Now, basic yellow, you know, can be a scary color to work with because yellow is tough. One thing I can say about yellow, okay, here's a secret sauce that I'm going to tell you. And you might not agree with me, but this is my experience. If you like yellow, okay, I'm going to look at you guys. If you like yellow, okay, it's hard to put yellow on top of other colors and not have it look nasty, you know, like it fits. So make sure that you work it within and kind of maybe paint on top of it. Or just make sure that you've maybe gessoed a little bit in that area and then put your yellow in there. Because if you try to just put yellow on top of a painting, like spongy and everything, it can get kind of hacky looking. I don't know. Does that make sense? It's one of those colors that does that. It doesn't like go on top of other colors really good, unless it's like totally opaque. Okay, I'm going back down. You're from UK and it's sunny? It's pouring rain here. That's not fair. Okay, let's look more. Can you see it again? I hope so. Because I'll get yelled at later by somebody. It's true. It's true. People yell at me. Like, what? Why are you yelling at me? I don't really care if they yell at me because I told you, I'm getting like that. But it hurts for a minute. It's like, well, you know, I'm just doing this for fun. And nobody's paying for me to do this. And so we're just hanging out. And I'm sorry if I don't have a supply list up. That's a really good thing. But that's not what the Stir Crazy Cafe is about. Stir Crazy Cafe is just about getting together with other artists and not feeling separate. Not feeling isolated. You know, I always say it, you know, because a lot of people are going, well, Pat, you know, you could do so much more with your account and everything else. And I'm like, yeah, I have a lot of ideas and I have a lot of dreams. But one thing that I don't want to do is be separate from the everyday artist, because that's my jam. I'm an artist that teaches artists. And, you know, everybody, I mean, sometimes people think, well, you know, at a certain point I have to start teaching. Well, you don't have to, because not everybody is bent that way, all right? And I sure as heck wasn't in the beginning. I had worked like 12 years, and most of it I didn't like. But you might be able to paint really, really awesome, but teaching is another thing. It's hard to explain until you try it. I mean, try it. But it's hard to explain the process sometimes. So you can scratch into this and you can just keep going over. It's really forgiving. But see how fast that dries? I'm gonna maybe put my grease pencil. I am a grease pencil fan. I just love it. You know, you can't hurt these things. You can put them in any time. They might take, they might not take. Like now, it's just gonna scratch in wherever it's wet. Wherever it's not, it will, it'll give me some black back. But you know, there's no specific time that you have to put your marks in, and you can put them in and you can take them out. I mean, you know, let's see what happens, really. What time is it? Okay. Well, we didn't start until 1:15, so, you can use another medium to be your black. Just stick with the palette. Doesn't have to only be paint. It can be, but I'm just giving you like some parameters. And even at the end of this, what works really good with a limited palette, and here's some secret sauce, is then you add a couple of pops of other color and you are good. You know, because it's all gonna work. So this palette makes me feel pretty grungy, but in a good way. So I need more white because that black is so strong. And I want to get some really bright greens in there. So let me see if I can make that happen. Excuse me. Oh, this is pretty. I want to turn it around, but I taped it down. I need to turn it. I like to, sometimes I'll stick with an orientation, but a lot of times I like to turn things, so I'd rather have an unveiling, but maybe I can pull this up and still turn it. Maybe. You're not going to cooperate. All right. Never mind. I'll just try to imagine it upside down. All right. I really like this color. This is a nice color. Maybe I'll do a neutral painting that's like mostly white and celery. Oh, celery. I love that color. Wow, that's pretty. I didn't even talk about celery. Do you guys like that color? I wish I could see you and paint at the same time. I just want you to leave, well, your answers won't stay there. I want to do a Zoom class, a couple hour Zoom class, where you sign up, and there might be a fee, but it'll be reasonable because it's only 2 hours. So it's not like a full day workshop. And I'll be able to teach you some stuff, and we'll be able to have interaction, which might be cool. So, you know, give me some love or send me a DM if you'd be interested in that. I know a lot of people are teaching classes now, and we're all doing it for the same reason, because, you know, workshops and things were canceled. I had 2 workshops this year. It's the first time I was like really going to get out. I had one for August, and I had one in New York City, which I was really excited about, at the Center for Visionary Arts. And it, you know, of course it can't happen because New York is, you know, that's me dropping stuff. No, I can't live with this. I have to turn it. Stop it. No. Can't live with that. I gotta flip it. All right, is that in camera? Okay, I gotta flip it. I gotta flip it to no. Okay. I have to flip it to know if I like it. You guys know what I'm mixing, right? So if I don't have it in camera all the time, you'll understand. All right, maybe I'll change my brush type. Do you ever wash your hands in the wash water? Does anybody else ever wash their hands in the bucket? It's not a good thing to do, like, long term, but I used to work out in my garage. It didn't have running water, so sometimes I just, when I had a lot of stuff on my hands, and I had to dip it and wipe it off as best I could, you know. That's what you do. I used to go plein air painting in the car, and, you know, when you had a tinkle, that was not funny, you know. You had to find like a cup or something. All right, too much information. All right, let's go back down and look at this. Okay, I want to get maybe a pointy brush. Do I have a rigger in here? Ooh, these are fun, riggers. I ruin them. They're really best for watercolors, riggers, these kind of brushes. These with the long, they're usually natural hair and they're squishy. And a lot of people use them for Chinese calligraphy and Chinese watercolor and stuff. But you can't control them really. You can learn to control them very well. But if you want to get some kind of free-form marks and things, if you lean down on it, you can get like a fat mark. You get fat like that. Or you can get squishy like that. Or you can start fat like this and then come up on your point and get thin and then get fat again. Isn't that cool? I love these. It's all a matter of learning how to use different parts of your brush. Okay, and then you can use the side too, but not necessarily make like a, you make a very organic kind of a blobby thing. Maybe while it's wet here I can put some other kinds of marks in by scratching them in. And okay, I'm gonna add a couple pops of white. I could work on this a long time. This is fun. But I think I got a dominance of neutral green. I have a little bit of yellow. And now I think I'm just going to put some pops of white in. You can put them in with your markers if you want, or your crayon. I might do that later. But to save time, I'm going to do it all with my brush. And try relying on your brushes a little bit. If you tend to rely on markers, that's really great. That's really fine. I mean, we never had such cool markers before. But if you try doing things with your brush, it'll change, your mark vocabulary if you're getting tired of making the same marks, because we can get stuck in a mark making rut, as you all know. And like you can't stop making circles, and you're making circles and you're making circles and you can't stop making circles. But you can, but sometimes you just gotta do it with something that you can't control, and then you start doing more organic marks if that's what you want. If you want really neat ones, like Janet Skates is really neat marks, then she's got a good hand anyway. She could probably do it with her brush. Then do it with the marker, because you can control it. It just depends on what your aesthetic is. But I don't think I want any more black. I think what I want, if it'll work, is just some gray graphite. This is one of those graphite pencils. You can wet it, or I'm going to turn it around again. Or you can use it dry. But I kind of like this. I think it's earthy, and for me these colors are earthy, so I'm happy with that, because I can't necessarily see me making these like wrapping paper, or you could, but for me they want to be earthy, So let's see, where can I scribble? Let's just see. I can enhance some of my gray areas a little bit with that, So Graphite will give you gray, so you can certainly do that. Everything's going like this. It's hard for me to do this upside down. Maybe I'll do some of my, you can do letters. I mean, I do the U's. The U's, I really didn't know. I didn't think about them really. And then somebody from, I think it was New Zealand, said that the Aborigines, that they signify children. And I thought, wow, that's pretty prophetic, because, you know, I'm always praying for my children and prodigal and their children's children and all of that. So, but other letters are really cool too. X is a cool letter. Z's are cool. Z's are cool. You know, all those kind of things. They don't have to be letters. They don't have to be numbers, but they're just ideas. I like to scribble mostly. Some people have a hard time scribbling. I've kind of learned to make peace with my scribbles. And I think I'm just going to try to make it a little bit, I don't know if that's going to be my bottom or not. And I'm going to do the pop thing that I promised that I would do. I didn't say I was going to do it, but I just want to show you that, you know, go ahead. Don't think ahead. Just get it to a place where you really like it as it is. I would put a little bit more white in here, but just for our amount of time and to demonstrate, I'm going to not wait, but go ahead. Oh, here's a really little, man, I never use these little, let's see what happens. Go in and add a different color, you know. Now, if I put a different color in here, then and just sparingly. I mean, not all over the place, because if you go all over the place, you're gonna start making wallpaper again. But just maybe in a few places. Have a pop of another color, and I'm not trying to stay inside the lines because it's a very organic piece, but you know, maybe something like that. I'm not sure. I'll think about it a little bit more later, but and the difference between, you can add texture with dry brush. So, you know, don't be afraid of a dry brush. And, yeah, I got to turn it around again, because I don't know. I feel like I'm painting upside down again, and I got to see it this way. If I don't like that, you know, I'm just going to go back in and I'm going to cover over it, or I'm going to lighten it up. So it's very forgiving. And then that might make another color. So now I have a little bit more of a tone. And so I have some surprises, but I have a really good dominance that's been laid down because of the limitations that I, you know, set for myself. Set for myself. Not for you, but for me, and kind of showing you that, you know, get it to a good place that you like living with it, and then move into a little bit something else, but not like too much of something else. Because if it's too much, then it's not special. So I think I need a line that goes this way, because everything is going down, and so I might do that. I'm not really a fan of that either. Oh, now I'm really ruining it. Ooh. So now what I need to do is get a big brush and obliterate. Give me some white. White. I'm turning it around again because I don't know exactly where I want to go. But I think I have a lot of noise everywhere. So rather than have a lot of noise everywhere, I'm going to take some noise out. It'll still pick up some color. Take out that line. I'm going to leave that bright yellow in there. I like that. I like this. I'm going to enhance that. And I'll try to showcase that a little bit, but without being, I don't know, too, all right. There we go. Well, it's pretty ugly, but I think you get my drift, right? So, let's see. Well, it's actually ugly in a nice way, I think. All right, so I don't know. I don't think it's better this way. Sideways, I didn't work it that way, so I'm not expecting it to be working sideways. But anyway, looks like a droid. All right. Well, anyway, I'm really glad that you guys stayed on, and you might want to try that. You might want to enhance it, do a pop of red instead of turquoise or whatever, but really, really stay with that simple color mix before you go adding another color, because you're going to want to, thinking that adding another color is going to fix it, but if you can't get the design right and things, it's hard to explain. And you just add more color and more color and more color, you're going to make a hash out of it. And that's okay, because sometimes you have to learn by doing that. But yes, thank you. All right. So Leah's asking for prayer. So I'm going to, does anybody have any specific prayer requests? Leah, how's your nephew doing? Okay. All right. So, dear Heavenly Father, I just thank you for all of these artists who gathered today. I am so glad that we're able to glorify you by the work of our hands. You made us fearfully and wonderfully. You made us in your image. And the first thing that we learn about you is that you're a creator. And so, Father, we just thank you that we have divine permission to be artists and to explore and to learn and to make mistakes and to make chaos and rejoice in that, because we're taking the gift that you gave us and we're learning to make more with it. And we know that that just gives you so much joy. And I know that I'm not alone in this, and maybe some listening can't put their finger on it, but there's a joy that you feel, a peace that we feel when we create. And I know that it's your presence and it's your pleasure. And so I just pray for each one of these here listening as they work, whether they have a success or a failure in their own eyes, it's all good, because they're doing what they were designed to do. And as that, they're reflecting you and glorifying you. And I just thank you for that. And I'm back here anyway, and I'm going to finish, let everybody see what we did, who just popped on. We worked with a limited palette. And then I was just about to say, may the Lord bless you and keep you, and may he make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace. Shalom, shalom. Shalom means like peace unspeakable in every area of your life. It's a really cool word if you look it up in the Hebrew. I'm not a Hebrew major, but it's pretty cool. So I'm going to post the playback. It'll take me a minute for those of you who might have missed it. And probably about 45 minutes in, we get to the art part. Okay, if you don't want to listen to the chatter. But it is, art talk. And so we make together and we talk together and we meet together. So I'm going to sign off now, and thank you, Doris. And remember, I guess I'll share the gospel with you too, that whoever calls upon the name of the Lord Jesus and believes that God raised him from the dead will be saved. That means forgiven. That means made new. That means that's what they call being born again. You're born from above. That means everything, all the old stuff is washed away and everything is new. And all I can tell you is it's for real, because that's what happened to me. And I'm leading my best life now. And so that it's as simple as that. It's by faith alone. It's a gift from God. It's not of works. You don't have to work to it. You don't have to clean up your act to come to him. You come to him just the way you are, and you give him your junk. And what he gives back to you is freedom, is love, is grace, is faith, is peace, is kindness. Those are the fruits of the Spirit. It takes time, but it gives you the gift of the Holy Spirit that lives inside of you to help you to live the life you were designed to live. In Jesus' name, amen. Thanks for listening.